item here was called a girnal, and a girnal is a term that's used beyond Shetland. It's a term used in northern Scotland, and what it was for is the bulk storage of meal and flour. And the reason that it's so big is that the traditional grain crops of Shetland, there was a type of oats and a type of barley that people used to grow. Obviously big families, intensive agriculture meant that there was a lot of grain grown every year, and it was all taken into the stackyard in the winter time or in the autumn time, and through the winter it was processed. It had to be thrashed, had to be dried, and ultimately it had to be ground up to make meal. And the most efficient way to do it was not to do it by hand, but to do it by watermill. And if you're doing it by watermill, you're not going to be doing it in small quantities. You're going to be dealing with big quantities. By the time you've set up the mill ready for use and the conditions are right with the winter streams in spate, then you're going to have a lot of meal to go into storage. And a thing that's easy for us to lose sight of today is that our old-fashioned houses and outbuildings, they were absolutely chock-a-block with vermin, lots and lots of mice, and if you're really unlucky, rats too. And because of that, you couldn't entrust your storage of meal into a barn. It had to be in the house, because in the house is where the most warmth is, where the most drought is, and thereby where it's easiest to try to keep down on the mice. So hence why the girnal is so big. And you can see inside here, it's got these partitions inside. There's two here, and there might be, say, one for finer flour, say oat flour, and maybe two for coarser barley meal. And besides being a storage box or storage chest, and also being a place to deter mice from getting in, it was also a place where the baking requisites could be kept too, because somebody is going into this box every couple of days. They're not baking occasionally in big quantity, they're baking a little and often. So your wooden baking bowls and your flour scoop, which might be, say for example, a scallop shell, or even like a porpoise jaw, that was a popular thing for a scoop, would be kept here in the girnal. Some of them, although this one doesn't have, some of them had a shelf on the inside too, so that any leftover what we called brunnies, which was like a bannock, any leftover brunnies could be put in there if they weren't eating that particular meal time, and they could be put in there safely, because it's a bit of a fatuous thing to say, but there's no fridge and there's no bread bin, so that was all part of the use of the girnal.